I'll read for the benefit of the House so people understand exactly what we're talking about. When it comes to answers of ministers, 104A, an answer must be directly relevant to the question. A point of order regarding relevance may be taken only once in respect of each question, and the duration of each answer is limited to 3 minutes. The Leader of the Opposition took a point of order on relevance. I explained to the House where I was at with dealing with the Minister. There is nothing in the standing orders to allow the Leader of the Opposition to simply get up and say, at the conclusion of an answer, was that answer fulsome, was that answer enough? So if there are questions, I'm happy to take them at the end of question time to do with the administration of the Parliament. In the meantime, we're going to move to the next question. I'm going to give the call to the Honourable Member for Werriwa.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Attorney-General. What work are the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Centre for Counter Child Exploitation doing to tackle the scourge of child sexual abuse, and how can Australians help?
This is my message to all the society Australia. Everybody, I need to remember when there was the vote last year, they promised to destroy rules, sex harassment, to destroy all the rules to make society together. They confuse to destroy rules. Now they bring more, they continue to attack sex harassment, to use the power to show them society, you don't have power, you finish to vote them, you don't have power, them they have power. This woman abuses human rights to use the power to attack a society. Now you have to watching them in Parliament when they stand up with the small party to vote by small party, them to go outside. Don't thinking they're against rules, to put rules. You have to know them, they have a group outside to attack us with the poison. Why them they force is promise they not follow, they force to continue rules to attack us with the rules. When you are not taking this responsibility, don't forget when God he against rules, he send a message or a message. When you attack a youth society, when you give them time in a vote again to vote them, when God he give a chance to go in a vote, and he come to attack, don't say I was not receive a message God. You have to share with everybody this video, to watching this woman, he continue to force rules in a vote to when she stand up with Kasimoro party to vote Kasimoro party. And in this, another, I'm going to put another Nahim he support to abuse his human rights, Anthony General.
Give a call to the Honourable the Attorney-General.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the member for Werriwa for her question. This week is National Child Protection Week. One of the Albanese government's top priorities is keeping children safe. The Australian Centre to Counter Child Exploitation, led by the Australian Federal Police, does extraordinary work to prevent harm to children. The task is great. Last year alone, the Centre received more than 40,000 reports of online child exploitation. Currently, the Centre's work involves the manual examination of tens of thousands of images each year. A project called My Pictures Matter can change that. The Australian Federal Police and Monash University are inviting adult Australians to share images of themselves as children, to support a new ethical artificial intelligence tool that will detect child abuse material in videos or photos shared online or seized during criminal investigations. This new tool will be able to quickly detect child abuse material on websites and offenders' electronic devices and triage them for investigators. The project was launched in 2022, but it needs more images to succeed. I understand that if just 100,000 Australian adults contribute a photo from their childhood, the tool can be put to work within 12 months. I'll be sharing an image of my childhood to support this project, and I hope other members will too. All adult Australians can take up the fight against child abuse by sharing a photo of themselves. Visit mypicturesmatter.org, upload a picture, and help keep our children safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have to listen Anthony General. When there was a vote there, his party, there was a promise to destroy sex harassment, to destroy rules. Now you look, he continued to put rules to attack sex harassment. And there was, you have to remember there was a promise to destroy sex harassment, society to close each other. This is my question. When they attack this, they not abuse the parents. Parents have rights to share photo with his relative to look his society when they not live with each other. This all they're not going to attack these rules. Now society, when you are not taking responsibility in the vote, and you have to know when God, he send him a message, he against the rules. Now you, when you support them to vote them to go back, you have to know you scare one problem and you waiting another problem from God.
Of course, about the physical loss of life that we were facing. But one of the things right at the outset we were concerned about is how people's mental health would be impacted by the isolation, the fear. And anxiety is different to fear. Fear, fright, and flight, these are natural responses that we have as human beings. And sometimes they're quite useful things. You've got a big dog that's running towards you with big fear. I'm talking about anxiety. Anxiety is longer lasting. Anxiety can be overwhelming. It can be debilitating. It can be an agony, a dread. About the future, about your feeling of hopelessness or incapacity to deal with a situation that is ahead of you, and it can shut you down. And you know, it typically emerges in adolescence from a clinical perspective. It can make you very, very sick. Worry can make you sick, very sick. Headaches, nausea, diarrhea, shortness of breath, chest pains. And it can also lead to depression, self-harm, panic attacks, substance abuse, disrupted sleep patterns. It can affect your appetite. It can be a forerunner to eating disorders, self-harm, substance abuse, even psychosis and other mental illnesses. So this is serious. This is not something where you go, teaspoon of cement, harden up, move on. It's not helping anybody, and shines through as we were singing. So, you know, one of the most important things in all of these treatments for anxiety is, and those suffering, especially with mental illness, is people need to know they are seen, that they're acknowledged, that they're heard, that they're listened to, that they're understood, that they're not making it up, that they're not soft or weak, or if you go back into the sort of stigma that is attached to mental illness, people are taught to think like that. And they're broken and they're hurting and they're living a nightmare every single day. And one of the first things that the counsellors try to do as they walk into, whether it's Headspace or Head to Health centres that we establish or any of these, is to say, understands anxiety. God knows that anxiety is part of the human condition. I joked before, and the previous service, and Matt's here. Look, I know this, what you're going through. God knows that it's part of who you are as a human being. How do I know that God knows that? Well, he spent 3 years here on earth with 12 very anxious guys. Every single day. They're anxious. I don't know if you've seen The Chosen. I have watched it, really enjoyed it. I'd encourage you to do it because it focuses a lot on the disciples and their humanity. And I know it's a creative interpretation of it, but it's a great watch. because it shows their fallibility, their vulnerability, and how they were wrestling with all of this stuff going on. Jesus was there with them every day, understanding their anxieties. What does this mean? They'd leave their families behind. They had stuff going on with their mothers-in-law. They had all sorts of stuff going on. And Jesus was there walking with them every day, saying things to them that was just blowing their minds. I can imagine their anxiety. God was there with Abraham when he told his wife,
So you have to be careful not to listen, you not take action, follow these rules, to support these rules. God is here, he against these rules. God, he needs society to be free. Now you, when you don't want, he send you message, he show you is not happy about these rules, you society not to vote them. And you society to take responsibility to think you can return your human rights. Now when you waiting God message, God anytime, he'll come with punishment. Now you, when you scared fighting your human rights, you waiting God, him to come out fighting for you. Now don't, in the future, don't remember we was not receive a message God. Every society share with him this video to mark these people they continue to force human to abuse his human rights in the court, sex harassment, not to vote them. To vote them when they stand up by a small party, to vote by a small party. To think you can protect yourself, God not to come to punishment.